What's up? My name is Melissa, and you're listening to WOW, where we discuss unconventional norms of lifestyle, career, and world points. On WOW, people discuss their journey to becoming wild. Hosted and curated by me, Melissa Witherspoon. So in today's episode, we have my mentor, Dr. Natasha Sandy. Dr. Natasha Sandy is a modern, what were you said it? You said it correctly. It was, you were trained in, of course, dermatology. She's a celebrity dermatologist. She doesn't like to say that, but she is. She's a celebrity dermatologist. Some of your favorite clients, she has basically, have wonderfully their skin. The one we can talk about is Charlemagne the God. That's the one that he actually voices opinions about how amazing Dr. Natasha Sandy is. But she's also has in family medicine, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, and like she's the only one of the people that can get me in shape. Like she can not cuss me out. She has never cussed me out. Let me say that, because she'll be like, I never cuss you out. She can get me straightened. That's just the best way to say she loves me very much. And we're gonna have a wonderful conversation. Hi, Doc.
Hi, how are you?
Please don't be shy. Come on, Doc. It's me.
I'm not shy. I'm just chill. It's the end of the day. I'm excited that you're here.
Okay.
That you guys are here. It's just the end of a long day, and you need a little bit of a second to
get yourself together. All right. So, Doc, let's talk about how you got into dermatology. I know how you got into dermatology was because of growing up, you had bad skin. But like, go into the pathway. Also, I forgot to mention, she is a Londoner. She's originally from London. And how did you get from London to the States?
So there's a thing, it's called a plane.
Really? Really?
I got here by a plane. But so, actually, I've always wanted to be a doctor, at least I think. Mm-hmm. I've always wanted to be a doctor. I don't know I feel like I was born to want to be a doctor. I don't know if my dad was talking into my mum's womb and saying, hey, be a doctor, be a doctor. I don't know if it's family influence that made me think, wait, I want to be a doctor. But really, I always wanted to be. I never really played like with dolls, like make-believe dolls, right? If I was playing the dolls were the students in my class, right? But I always played like chemistry sets. I wanted games that would look like the real games.
So you wanted the grown-up games?
Yeah, if we play, I want to do sport. We play a game. But the fake make-believe thing, I kind of found it like a little bit. No, you talk like this. I found that sort of like boring. Right? I wanted more creative.
I could just see you as a child, like this is not.
I was
interesting.
fun, but I'm just like,
This.
So I didn't really do that. But I always knew I was always interested in medicine.
Okay.
Or science, but science more from the perspective of like health and body and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then I think again, my mum was in fashion, and a lot of people in my family use like both sides of the brain. So there's like that scientific side and the science side, and I think medicine, to me, is all of that, right? And I guess derm definitely is very visual, and then you can bring the science into it.
For people who don't know, derm is what dermatology call dermatology. They just shorten it up for derm. We just had to let the listener know because some people don't know that.
Yeah. So I think I always was interested in being a doctor. I myself had like many skin issues and concerns, and one of the things that I found was that diet and the things that I ate contributed to a lot of my problems. So when I was younger, I noticed that certain foods I would itch inside. The word I'd use like, Mom, I'm itching inside my back. And I would go to other doctors and tell them about it. And they would say, no, it has nothing to do with skin. Mm-hmm. It's not related. So now, fast forward, that is related, mm-hmm. right? We found out diet and nutrition makes a good, big contribution. But I think all that and trying to figure out why things are connected to, if I ate this, why would I get this? If I was feeling bad, why would I feel sleepy? If my eczema was acting up, why would I feel sleepy? All those things made me interested in this field. But I didn't realize that I was interested in all of it. So diet, nutrition, high blood pressure, all of that, and how it was all connected. So And I think that's how I came to do the family medicine dermatology route.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the universe set that up for me. That's what I'll say.
Okay.
Because ultimately, my perspective is a little bit different in terms of how I approach skin, dermatology, and health as a whole.
Okay. So that which is amazing and wonderful. So, did you have to get a different type of training for holistically too, as well?
Well, so I'll tell you guys this story, and I'll say the universe, like, and not to sound like I'm a mini Oprah, right?
Hey, it is what
But
it
that
is.
is right. But listen, our souls decide we want to come on this planet and manifest and create, and we definitely know that for the physical, our physicality, we need physicality to be able to create, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what I knew was, I remember my medical school letter I wrote, application letter, I said, I want to be able to teach people and educate people how diet, nutrition, and lifestyle contributed to their skin, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in that letter, when I was writing that letter, I was thinking solely of like dermatology, because I really, in my mind, how it was approached was from that perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I meant is I was going to add maybe traditional Chinese medicine and integrate it, right? And so that's the letter. That's the letter that I wrote in my medical school application. Go to medical school, and fast forward, I realized that medicine, as it has been practiced up until recently, it's expanding, was really very segmented. So yes, in your first part of your training, it's general, but later on it gets very specific: cardiac, GI, dermatology, stuff like that. Which, because of the volume of information, I understand that that may be a course you need to take at a certain point. But I think the mindset when you're looking at a patient from the whole patient and looking at all the different factors that come into play when you see a patient is not necessarily part of the training, right?
Right.
It's going to come, but it isn't part of the training. So what I ended up doing was doing family medicine, and then doing one of the first fellowships in dermatology.
Okay.
And while initially I thought it wasn't the way I wanted to do it, it turns out that the universe knew better than me the way the way it was supposed to be, because nobody looks at it the way I do. My patients tell me it all the time. I've got patients that have seen lots of doctors, lots of dermatologists that did the traditional route, and I just look at things differently. And it's just because that's the way it was meant to be. That's the way I was meant to do this work.
Yes.
You understand what I mean?
Oh yeah, because I'm one of them. Like, if you have you took before pictures of me?
Yeah, we do have them.
Oh,
yeah.
Please don't never release this. Please don't. But she's no, like I said, how long I've been knowing you, Doc? 6 years? 5? 8? I mean, wait.
No, 8. You're aging me. No.
Okay, no. All right, okay. Let's just say she's seen me as a young teenage woman to now a young woman, and she saw my skin in all them stages. Mm-hmm. Yes. So no, I can say what she's saying, giving her kudos that yeah, she looks at it like nobody's business. Like, she looks at it a very different perspective. So what school did you go to? I know you went to the illustrious Morgan State University.
She's being sarcastic, y'all. She's at Howard, and so she's trying to
know.
Yeah. But ask her why she's at Howard, because who told her to go there?
Okay, side note. All right, so shout out to my first school, University of Maryland, Eastern Shore. As when I started coming to Dr. Sandy, it was, I think, my freshman year of college. And Dr. Sandy was like, you. And I was like, yeah, you. She was like, I'm taking you under my wing. If she loves you, she loves you. She's going to take you under her wing. You become like one of her children. It's a couple of us. You know who you are. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to Madison. But she'll take you, and then she'll just be like, so after you get done with your visitation and your plan, she's gonna say, so how are we doing on the goals? How are we doing on the dreams? How are we doing on the lifestyle? And you be like, okay. If you give her a BS answer, she's going to call you out on it. So I was like, I'm going to go to film school, and I'm going to go to a white film school, and I'm going to go to USC and, NYU and all those wonderful places. And she looked at me, you have lost your everlasting mind. Doc, you want to continue the story?
I don't really remember it quite that way. No, but I think you're, well, if I can remember correctly, I think you was kind of saying that was a better route. And so my position is that the intangible lessons and values and education that you get from a HBCU is totally underestimated and is more valuable than saying that you were lost in a world of a school that really, yes, technically you may gain some of that, but you can get that anyway. This is 2021. But what you can't get is in those formative years, the emotional and psychological backbone that can help you to fight the world and get a knowing of who you are and who you be in the world. And also that network that is so huge and so powerful because you really know who you are. My argument always is, I'm gonna tell you guys a story. If I try to explain to people the value of HBCU education and experience outside of partying, and we can talk about how that's a misleading, right? It's like this. I grew up in England, right? And I grew up in a place where truly when people in America, this majority white is like a joke. In England, it's like we were really just, people at the school were myself and my sisters and my cousins. And we were good students and our family was very active in our education. So we were fine. If other people our family looked out for us. And when you're a smart student or exceptional person of color, you're kind of left alone, right? So I was a good student. So for the most part, I was left alone, but still, you caught some slack or whatever. So anyway, my dad took us to go to Trinidad, which is where my family's from, just before we reached our teens. And he said he wanted us to go to the Caribbean to see what it was like to grow up in the Caribbean in a place where the world looked like us more, right? Okay. So I remember I was in class and I was about 11. So I went to class. So this is a culture shock now. So I'm very English. I went to very good schools in England, even better schools than most people in England, right?
Right.
And so I'm going to the Caribbean and it's really different. The buildings are different. There's like the rooms, it's for a roof, ceiling, everything. But in the Caribbean, sometimes they have these bricks in the top row between the wall and the roof and the fence that have like holes in it, and just to make the air flow. And it's just really different. Everything was just set up differently, and we had English accents like very clear, different from everyone else. So I remember sitting in the class, and and in the Caribbean it's different. When you answer questions, the teacher will ask you questions. They go through the class and ask every single student a question, and they pick you. Hey, Melissa, I'm going to ask you A, B, C, D. Now stand up and answer this question. So you have to stand up, answer the question, and then sit down. So the teacher is talking to this guy, a student, and he tells the student something, and the student I can't remember what he did, but the teacher screamed. Imagine if your uncle, or even even in school, the teacher's really telling you off. He ripped him a new a-hole, right? And I was like, oh my God. I was thinking, oh my God, this kid is in trouble. So the next day now, we come back to school, and the teacher's acting like normal, like nothing happened. He said, hey, Claude. His name was Claude Brown. Shout out to Claude Brown. And the teacher, Mr. Armand Ra, right? Right. And he was telling him off. And the next day, nothing happened. So imagine if you got in trouble. I know the kid did something. Clyde Brown did something bad because he always used to get in trouble, right? But the teacher, I think, made him step out the class, leave my classroom right now.
Oh.
And he came back, nothing happened. He may have even sent him to the headmistress's office, which is the principal, right? In America, you say principal, right? The principal's office, right? And he came back the next day, it was nothing. And I remember saying to myself, and I was like 11 or 12, oh, this is what it's like to be white. Because you could get in trouble, the deepest, in real trouble, and when you came back, you got a second chance, right? Do you understand what I mean? Yeah. And I remember thinking that, right? And I remember I didn't have typically like really the worst time in school, right? And I'm thinking, oh, and then I remember my shoulders just relaxing. And I never knew I was carrying that, right? And that was when I realized, oh, remember when people used to say, oh, you guys got a chip on your shoulder? It's like, maybe I did. Maybe we did have a chip because we're carrying the realities, which was we don't have a second. You only have one chance. You only have one chance. You have to worry about how people are perceiving you. And then what I realized was, and I always say this to people, is what happens is there's normal human development that people go through, right? As a 2-year-old, the terrible twos. As teenagers, as a male or a female teenager, males challenging establishment, even female, everyone challenging establishment, bucking the system. You get to do that, right? In the Caribbean, they got to do that, and it didn't mean anything. When you're a white person in the United States, England, other parts of the world, you get to do that, and it's not a judgment. Any mistakes you make is not a forever judgment as a teenager of who you are for the rest of the world, for the rest of your life, right? And I saw that when I went to school in the Caribbean. And that's what I say, the closest you can get to that is a HBCU. And it happens in your formative years, when you're 18 to 21, 16 to 21, when you're really discovering who you are. You get to discover who you are with no long-term ramifications and no judgment. So you get to be in the school with the teachers, judged for you, not by the color of your skin. And there's something fundamentally psychologically beneficial to that, right? Which is what the HBCUs do, which is why you see Caribbean people come straight from the Caribbean. African people come straight from Africa and excel because they have a knowing of themselves that was formed without worrying about who they need to be in the world, right? And I think that's the closest thing you get to in a HBC. You get to struggle, because nothing you're worrying about, you can just be you and define who you are in that space. And so that's why I said to you, get away from here talking about, I want to go to, that's nice, but don't damn HBCUs, because there's some value that you can never, that is what you can't get. So the argument, like, you need to be into, what do they say? I want my children to go to a majority white school because then you learn how to handle in the world. Are you crazy? What are you talking about? Then explain to me why people come from Africa and the Caribbean and India and grew up around, really, it just looks like them and they kick behind. It's because in their formative years, they get to just be. And they get to really do human development. So anyway, that's what I told you. I said, get out of here with that nonsense. You might want to go to Howard. Don't tell me no foolishness.
No, she said not might want to go to Howard. You're going
to Howard. You need to go to Howard. Stop with that
nonsense.
Be real.
Let's be real.
Stop with that nonsense. And don't tell me about financial aid acting up, because I went to a medical school and they were messing up with the financial aid, so don't even worry about that. So here it is.
Yes, so now...
So you know what I ride for, right?
Yeah.
I've ridden for HBCUs, yes. Right? And so now everyone's on the HBCU wave, but we were on it already,
So
right?
how do you feel about our vice president going to become, HBCU?
I think it's great. I mean, that just proves that you can do it forever. So all the arguments that if you need to go to HBCU, you need to go to another school because then you'll get to know how to navigate in the world, and you get to be in a circle of people that make you navigate. It's nonsense. Mm-hmm. It's nonsense, because remember, a lot, even Obama, President Obama, I should say. Yes. President Obama. It's those of us that went for HBCUs that helped rally,
put him in office,
rally and get him into office. So and listen, the word is out now. Everyone's seeing the value. So we're gonna have some wicked basketball teams.
Yes. Oh, I'm so excited about that.
About time.
So with your HBCU experience, and then you went to a predominantly white medical school, how would you say the vice versa when it was cultivating you and becoming a doctor?
Yeah, it's like apples and oranges, and we'll leave out where the HBCU I really went to. But well, my aunt told my dad it was in the hood, like. So what?
I know which one. I know which one.
I went to go to Howard. My dad was like, Howard is in the hood. I'm like, so what?
I thought it was the other one.
Morgan's not. But it ended up being a good experience. It's just apples and oranges. The experience of going to medical school is it's really apples and oranges. It's a different type of environment. It's different learning. It's completely different. What are you asking me? If you're asking me, did it prepare me for it?
Was it as harsh? Was it as, would you, better yet would say, would you had a HBCU medical school? Had that been better for you? Like, talking to the girls right now who's thinking about going to a medical program, how would you guide them? Would you say, well, do they need both? Or would you say, just go to a HBCU?
Just go. I mean, you're gonna excel anywhere. If you're good, you're good. You're gonna excel. Like, forget all of this buying into if you have to be in another place to be able to navigate in the world. Here's what I do know. This is what I've heard, and as people say with me, we're hard on each other. So yes. At Howard and Meharry, they're tough on the students, right? And when they come out, this is for medical school, they are ready. So, our attendants, just like your auntie or your grandmother, they're going to go, you're going out and you're going to be, we're going to make sure you are good. And they're going to ride you and they're going to be hard on you. And people complain, but they're like, by the time you get out there, you're going to be ready.
No, well, she is ready because she's the head dermatologist, one of the head dermatologists.
I'm on the panel.
Okay, well, on the panel, let me get
so Melissa is very excited. She's like, Mrs. like the auntie that will say, or the grandmother that says, my daughter is the president of the United States. Or I have a friend who's a social worker, right? And her grandmother in Guyana said, my granddaughter is the head social worker for all of New York, the state of New York. And she's like, grandmother, no, I'm not really. No, that's not. So Melissa's doing that. So no, I'm just on a panel. When they see, when you see products and they say approved by whatever. So I'm on a panel of doctors that review.
Doc, don't try to lower that down. That's still a big move.
I'm on a panel that like reviews products and give thoughts and things like that. So yeah.
Okay, so it must have trained you well because you're doing that, and you also have your own skincare line, which I'm wearing, Polish Life. So how did you even get to those worlds? Because some people would say that's a long journey from Morgan State University to those worlds.
No, it's a long journey from England.
Okay.
How about that? Let's start there. It's a long journey from
England.
Look, when I look back, right, and I'm sounding like an old lady, but when I look back, sometimes where your life goes, you see a flash of it, right? You see an idea of, or you look at something, think, oh, I want to do that one day, right? I want to do that one day. But that's your inner being just connecting, or you see, and you're like, that's interesting, I like that. And or you see something that you want to do, and like, that would be so great. But that's you, and that's your inner being just setting the message and the signal to align with the universe. This is what I want to do, right? And sometimes you forget about that's the thing that you thought, right? Especially if you're not constantly doing the work, you get really focused on this one thing, or even focus on other things that people say. And then suddenly it shows up, and you're like, oh my God, yes, I always wanted to do that. Because you're just living and you're just allowing things to fall into place.
Yes.
And I think that's really a lot of what happened.
Okay.
So like you plant the seeds and you plan it, and maybe you can glimpse at it every once in a while, and just things fell into place. So yes, when I was in England, when I was younger, I saw myself. I used to imagine myself maybe walking down and going into offices, looking at patient skin, stuff like that. Talking about diet and all this other stuff. I used to look at those things and be like, oh, I'd like to be one of those doctors that say I'm on the panel of blah, blah, blah. Really, how does it work? I really was wondering, how did it work? Do you know what I mean? But I never really, just for a second, I looked at it. And then it just came into passing.
So you got into these worlds and stuff. So how do you feel now to be in these worlds, like, Doc? Like, when you look at a L'Oreal product and you know that, like, there's somebody that's, like, across the world that, like, is, like, yo, like, you had to approve that product.
So, the journey is, and still is, like, not without many bumps in it.
Okay.
And so you forget, actually, I guess I'm waiting for it to be smooth. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
And I guess that's not really going to happen. So during COVID, I started to be like, okay, oh, well, first I had to slow down because the fan was going.
And that's hard for you. Anybody who knows Doc, that's like literally daggone near impossible.
Well, I was dying to slow down. It just happened. So the fan had to like slowly slow down. And even now I'm still trying to not get too wound too much. But when I stop, and even when people like yourself be like, oh wow, Dr. Said, I'm like, why are they so excited? And my family sister remind me, listen, you guys, you've accomplished a lot. So even right now I'm thinking, oh, yeah, it's kind of a big deal, isn't it? Like, I literally forget. I'm like, yeah, it's a big deal. I guess there was somebody across the world looking at it and thinking, oh wow, I'm from England, and she's in America and she's doing these things and her name is on this stuff. Yeah, I actually, even right now, I'm like, it's a big deal.
Yeah, exactly. It very much is a big deal. Like, I brag on you, not because you just because
it's a shame that I don't realize it's a big deal, isn't it?
You've been on Dr. Oz, Doc. How the crap you don't realize is a big deal?
You know, here's the funny thing about this, right? About that Dr. Oz thing, you know, there are a lot of docs. You know, I was asked the other day, who's my PR person? And I was like, I don't have one. And this guy was like, well, how'd you get on Dr. Oz? And I was like, oh, they actually called me. Do you know what I mean? And now in the world where a lot of people are paying and buying PR, getting PR people, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it because you have to pick somebody that actually has a legitimate thing. But I can say that I did it, you know, I did, they called me, you know?
Right.
So I've been quite fortunate.
See, this is why I love talking to her, because it's not about the glitz and glam. It's just that she gives you real life advice. Like, it's like, how many people you know, like, that's in your everyday life that you could be like, just a mentor that like, yo, I'm a boss ass woman and I kick doors in every day. Like, it's nothing. And go like, rah, rah, rah. Like, just take the guns and like, you know, like a cowboy movie, go shh, shh,
but,
shh.
Well, remember, we're not talking about guns on this.
Oh, right, found that.
You're
okay.
funny.
Okay, but you know, just be okay, like, you know, it's like a superhero, like just kick doors down, bow and stuff, and then like, yeah, like it just that's why I be getting hyped. Like, yeah, so yes, that's why I'm hyped. But no. So it was the same thing trying to get on Breakfast Club, Doc, because that's where everybody gonna be like, how did you get on the craziest morning show, the ratchetest morning show, the craziest morning show in America?
So I just really think I've been blessed with having honestly, up until 2 years ago, I could say that I have had, and I still can say I have the best friends, but I've never really had like bad experience up until maybe 2 years ago.
Okay,
I've always had friends that always show up for me and are authentic. You know what I mean? And the ones that weren't just kind of disappeared.
Right.
You know, I think I've done a good job of keeping the good people around me and not. I think I kind of fell off of that a little bit. But I have a good friend that actually works with Charlemagne. And it wasn't, she works with Charlemagne. I went to an event that they were doing or something on the rooftop. And then we were sitting and talking and we were just hanging out, you know, drinks and stuff. And then I think Charlemagne was talking to her and she goes, oh, this is my friend. Dr. Sandy.
How y'all brag about her.
And my friends are like, you know, she doesn't look like a doctor, right? And we both on each other, right? So she's like, yeah, she's a doctor. And he's like, what? And he goes, what kind? And then we were talking about, he goes, you know, I go, you know, I do, you know, wellness, dermatology, 360, you know, from the inside out. And he goes, yeah, so what do you think about my skin? And I was like,
pause real quick before she finishes the story. If you ask Dr. Sandy's opinion, she's going to give it bluntly. Remember,
honestly, what does blunt mean?
She's a Londoner, so that means it's a little bit more even like extra straight. It's like a shot that you take in your chest, but it's like,
okay, you see what I'm saying? Listen, what blunt or you know, I'm just honest. I just say what it is. You don't ask questions you don't want the answer to, right? So he said, "What do you think?" And also, no, honestly, I also think it's the way we talk. So people are like, "Oh my god," do you know what I mean? So he goes, what do you think about my skin? And I was like, well, it's like, it's dark. You've got to sort that out. What was I supposed to say? You asked me.
No, but I can see your
And actually, I said to him, do you want me to answer? Because I'm asking you, asked me, do you want me? Because there's people around. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, you want me to answer? And he's like, yeah. And I said, well, that dark stuff, you've got to sort it out. And he goes, oh, really? I said, yeah, I can fix it. He said, what? I said, I can fix it. And he goes, all right. Then he goes, when? And I said, I'm in the office tomorrow. And he goes, I bet I'll be there tomorrow. I was like, okay. I gave him the office number, and then he was there the next day.
And then the rest is
history. And to be honest, and this is really who I am and who he is, I'd say this. I can tell everyone, I didn't ask him to go on the show. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't really interested in going on the show. I didn't even know it was an option. I just really wasn't thinking about it. Do you know what I mean? And then one day I was sleeping and I got a call from one of my HBCU friends that I hadn't seen in forever anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And he texted me and he goes, are you treating Charlemagne? I'm like, what? It was 7 something. I'm thinking, wait a minute, how does he know that? So I said, why? Because I'm not going to say yes or no.
Because Doc has it, was it an NDA or when he comes to clients?
With any patient.
Yeah, with any patient.
With any patient you have.
Yes, of course. She protects. Like, even though she's a celebrity, you will never know unless they talk about it. She does not talk about it. That
Yeah, we
stays top
can't.
secret.
You
We
can't.
locked up.
Anybody.
Anybody.
So then he goes, Charlemagne just said on the radio that you cheat. And I was like, what? And then my phone's just going blah, 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 going off, going off. And I was like, oh my God. And then he said it again, the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. And I was like, it said England, bloody hell. So it was like so many things. And then he said, then one day he goes, you should come on the show. And I was like, oh, really? And I was like, okay. And then he goes, yeah, come this day. And I was like, all right. And that's happened. Every time I've gone on the show, he said, yeah, you should come. And I'm like, okay. Or we talk about something. And then he goes, yeah, you should. Yeah, you should talk about that. There's so much that we talk about and we do that,
Yeah. And then that's how it happens. So it's just organic. It's just you're living your life, being your authentic self, and just go out into the world and be black girl magic. So, Doc, why is black people fucking up their skin? Let's just get real. Why
are they messing up their skin?
Yes, why are they messing up their skin?
So let's start with this. The illusion that black doesn't crack is such a bunch of crock, right? Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's a nonsense, and it's based on what? Like, black doesn't crack compared to. So that means, again, we're using something else as the benchmark to reference what's cracking and what's not cracking.
Most of the time we use white, so Caucasian.
Right, but the fact that when you say black doesn't crack, that means that you're comparing it to, like, yes, it does, it just cracks different. And what's the benchmark? Right?
Right.
No, it's cracking. So black does crack, right? And it just cracks differently. So that's the first problem. That's why we're messing up us.
Okay. And well, of course, if they want to get like your reason why your skin, you have to come see her. The number is online. I can't remember by heart, but you have 2 offices. One in Columbia, Maryland, outside of Baltimore, and the other one in Brooklyn, New York.
No, Manhattan.
Oh, Manhattan, New York, and stuff and everything. But so those, if you want a reason why your skin is acting up, you have to come see her specifically. Now, Doc, what are some things that you feel like as a race we do that we just need to stop doing?
Okay, so I'm gonna say this. When we talk about people of color, black people, we have to also be careful that this treating ourselves as like we're just one monolithic group, right?
Right.
What it means to be black and black people is just so diverse, not only in the shades that we are, but who we be, right?
The diaspora.
And as a person that is born in England, have Caribbean parents, right, that grew up in my formative years in England. I'm talking about teenage years. I was in England as a teenager, and the Caribbean as a teenager, and America as a teenager. So that most people spent their childhood in one place, their teens in one place, and their adulthood in another place. I did all my teens in the 3 different parts of the world. When we say black people, I consider what it is. It's very different in different parts of the world. But when I say black people, I also know that we have all different ranges. Right? Okay? You have what people may say the upper class, middle, and working class, or whatever, using the old traditional terms.
Right.
But you have the highly academically educated, those that are not so high academically, and those that have no formal education at all. So, to answer that question, if we want to do as a collective something in general, I would say that what we don't do, and this is taking my holistic approach, is we don't realize the impact of how we eat, right, comes into play for our skin. Eat. Stress in general. We don't realize how stress, how we eat, okay, exercise comes into play for our skin. And the next thing is, of course, we'll talk about that, which is like sunscreen.
Oh, I was going to get right next to it because so black people. Go ahead.
So what I say, and the reason why I say how we eat and just looking at stress, the body doesn't interpret stress. The body really can't necessarily distinguish between physical, emotional stress and necessarily physical stress, if we want to a certain degree, right? So the stresses in our lives and how we eat, which imposes other stresses and inflammatory processes in our body, all impact our skin. So when we talk about the hyperpigmentation, which everyone starts off with, there's so many different reasons why we get it, but the impact of those things come into play. And so the reason why I made the point of us as not being one group, yes, there are those of us and those in the Black community that may be healthier eaters, right? And we carry stressors in a different way, because maybe moving and navigating in the world as you try to, what do you say, kick down doors.
Yeah, like
right.
Like you're like a
right,
superhero.
right, and raise to the greatness of what it is as a Black person is.
Mm-hmm.
We carry stresses, so that impacts our skin, even though we may say we eat better, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for those that may not necessarily eat so well, right, they have the stress of that not eating well comes into play as well. Do you know what I mean? And then of course, like I said, the sunscreen.
All right, so what I was gonna say is that people has this myth that Black people, because of our melanin, no matter what our melanin is, we do not have to wear sunscreen. And Doc is here to tell y'all that is a big, 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 big lie. Doc, speak the facts of why we have to wear sunscreen.
Okay. Well, I don't know how scientific you want me to be, but let's just make it sweet and simple.
Okay.
Listen, you have UVB rays and UVA rays.
Mm-hmm.
A causes aging.
Mm-hmm.
B causes burning.
Okay.
Okay. Right. And the reality is the skin, just like most of the part of the body, is made up of cells that contain DNA, and the DNA can be degraded, right,
mm-hmm.
and destroyed,
mm-hmm.
but with exposure to UV rays, right. Now, those that includes collagen, elastin, and all those things on our skin, right,
mm-hmm.
that make up our skin. That is going to be degraded with exposure to UV rays. Okay. The other thing also is that one of the other things which is a big concern, and why most people of color think, oh well, we don't need to use sunscreen, is because when people think about sunscreen and the skin, we think about skin cancer, right? And yes, the UV rays can make any cells become aberrant. Do you know what I mean by that? Make it like act all weird and wonky and do the wrong things.
Yeah.
And when cells divide in an aberrant way,
mm-hmm.
okay, they can become a cancer. Any kind of cells, including the skin cells, which are rapidly dividing. And so while people of color have melanin, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there are cells on our skin, melanocytes, that carry
mm-hmm.
the pigment melanin that is protective from the UV rays. It's not, what is it in Star Wars? It's not like, what is it? Is it kryptonite? Like it doesn't, no, not kryptonite. It's not like all protective. It's not like a shield that protects you against everything. You're never, nothing's going to happen. Yes, we do have melanin and it does protect us,
mm-hmm.
but it does not make us bulletproof.
Right.
That's the word I want to use. It doesn't make us bulletproof. And so when people come and they're complaining of hyperpigmentation or wrinkles, and even though it happens later, hyperpigmentation, uneveness, all of that is because we're not using sunscreen, right?
Right.
Also, we talk about the ozone layer,
yeah,
and the destruction of ozone. It's a different kind of exposure to the rays. These holes in the ozone layer is also having us exposed to different types of or the different types or intensity of the UV rays, mm-hmm. right? That we probably weren't exposed to in the past. So
go ahead.
And Black people do get melanoma, and we do get squamous cell, and we do get basal cell. Maybe not to the definitely not to the extent that other populations do, but we do. And the thing to remember also with skin of color and Black people is that while we phenotypically may look like, okay, she's dark skinned and she's not going to be bothered by the sun. That's like how we look. Mm-hmm. Genotypically, there's a bunch of mix up going on too, right? Mm-hmm. You may look one way, there's lots of mixing and going on in us. So the reality is that we're exposed to a different kind of light and UV rays. So you need sun protection.
And the sun protection that we do recommend, this is a plug. This is because Doc is an ambassador for them. Or will you say ambassador? Where are you?
Mm-mm. I'm not an ambassador for them. Here's what my plug is. This is my plug is for an ingredient, right?
Okay.
My plug is this. You always want to use zinc oxide.
Okay.
Sunscreens with zinc oxide, and you want to use an SPF of 30 or more. Now, the issue often is that most people don't like sunscreen with zinc oxide because it's usually quite thick, mm-hmm. and it makes us look blue. There are some companies that have zinc oxides that are micronized, and we can talk about that in more detail at another time of certain companies. You want me to reference them?
Okay, no reference. Cool.
But you want zinc oxide because it protects you against all the rays, right?
Mm-hmm.
UVA, UVB, but all of the rays, full spectrum.
Right.
Okay. And then and it's a physical blocker. What does that mean? When the sun hits it, it kind of reflects it away from the skin.
Okay.
The other chemical, and titanium does that, dioxide. The other chemical blockers, I would say how it functions is it hits it, you put it on your skin, the sun hits the skin. If there's any breakdown or any destruction of DNA, then a chemical reaction occurs, and then it protects the skin. What's better, to have a shield to protect you against something, or when you get hit, slap across your head, than to have your fists up. When I say guns up, your fists up, right, to fight it. So what I say is it's always better to use, you want to protect yourself, so use zinc oxide. It's just finding brands that it's micronized. And there are some great brands out there that we can talk about.
Later. We can talk about very much later. Because I hope if I can get Doc, how it's going, I might be able to get Doc on for another episode because she loves me so much later on. Okay, anyway, that she looks at me like, But we're saying that, so Doc, okay, so I know you're in social media a lot. I know you've watched social media a lot because I know you. Anyway, whatever.
I'm told that I don't hardly post, but okay.
No, you don't post, but if you just know what's be going on. You know what the trends are. You know.
I live it.
Yes, you live it. So like a couple years ago, I don't know if it's still a big trend now. It was a lot of ass shots going on. How did that scare you? Because I know that had to scare you as a dermatologist, a doctor, all these people coming in with ass shots that they don't know what they're doing with their body.
Right. So I think as a doctor, period. So I remember the first time I had a patient. This had to be 2010.
Ooh.
2010. No, yeah, about 2010.
Okay.
So this woman came in. I got a referral from this doctor. This woman had a rash on her behind, on her cutis maximus. It was maximus. Anyway, so they said she had a rash. So she came in. I'm like, I don't see a rash. What's going on? I'm tapping. I'm like, where's the rash? She's like, here. And I'm feeling like something that feels like a brick. Was there a rash there and it went away? She's like, no, I just had this thing and I had. So I said, what's the story? She goes, I had like surgery. Like surgery, okay. What surgery? There's just where? Here. So I said, who's the doctor? Yeah, this plastic surgeon in DC. So I'm like, who's this plastic? It's a plastic surgeon because I'm feeling like this hard granular matters.
Like, how does it feel? Like, can you give us like a material it feels like?
You know, if somebody makes a cake, you know, like a pound cake.
Okay.
It's just like if you're feeling like you're feeling a woman's butt, but it feels like a pound cake is inside in her butt. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you know, if you've got a pound cake and you press a pound cake and you're just pressing on it.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So it felt like that. I was touching her butt and it felt like there was a pound cake inside her butt because it felt like a hard brick, but it wasn't brick. It was like a little bit soft, but it felt like a pound cake. That's the only thing I could. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I felt like that, and I was like, nah, there's something in there. And I'm thinking, you know what? I don't know where I heard about this, but I was like, I said, who's the doctor? And she goes, this plastic surgeon in DC. And I was like, let me talk to him because I don't know what he put in her butt. Right? I'm like, they don't really put like silicone, a whole silicone.
Like a breast tube in the breast.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, that's not making sense, but let me just find out. She goes, I don't remember his name, number. And I feel like I had spoken to somebody years ago and I knew it was in South America or somewhere where they were injecting stuff in the butt, just random stuff. I think I may have heard of it in Brazil. This is not in my medical share, this is just a life thing.
Okay.
And I put my chair back and I was like, and she was there with her mum. And I was like, listen, real talk, what'd you put in your butt? I was like, yo, what'd you put in your butt? With my English accent. And she was like, and I said, Mum, do you need to leave? And she goes, no, Mum, I can stay. I was like, what'd you put in your butt? Like, talk to me. And she goes, yeah, I went and got some stuff, some silicone put in my butt by some guy. And I said, so who's the guy? And she said, oh, there's this guy. He goes around and he puts stuff in your butt. So the story was, she went to a hotel. He had a bucket, a Home Depot bucket, and he had silicone, Home Depot. He pulled the stuff up, injected it into the behind, and they used like a big horse syringe, injected it in her behind, and then he took tissues and super glue and stuck it into the butt so that the stuff can so it couldn't come out, and he super glue. Yeah.
S-
Super glue to close the hole.
So, Doc, this is your first time dealing with something like this ever?
Yeah, and I don't know why. I just don't know why it wasn't completely unfamiliar to me. And then the movie came out. Remember Spike Lee's movie
Yes.
came out
Yes.
years after?
Yes.
And then maybe a year after, a year and a half after, an article came out. But she was like, I want to get it out. And I'm like, you can't. It was started like, we did an ultrasound and it was like spread all over her butt cheek. And then it was either, I was like, either I got to cut it out, we're going to cut every single piece out, and or you're just gonna have to roll the dice. So I did like some steroids and inject it, and every once in a while it would flare and stuff like that. Because what it would mean to get it out, she'd have a big indent in her behind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she would have like yes.
We just hope that the body just like sometimes the body would form a capsule around it as a foreign body, and hopefully it just didn't cause any other issues or migrate to anywhere else in the body. So yeah, but it was common, obviously. So I found out, and it was like $1,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like, first of all, I just want to
I
know.
wouldn't even. I wouldn't tell you. I'm like, and you went with who? Your boyfriend? Your fiance? You don't need. I'm like, Mom, does she need to marry that guy? Cause,
no.
I don't think he should be taking.
My question is, how did you stay calm when you get those type of cases? Like, what the hell were you thinking type of cases?
My first thought was, okay, how bad is this? Like, what can we do to solve it? Okay, I'm starting to get like the solving mode. Then my first thought was like, what? I said to her, are you crazy? Why did you do that?
Right.
And I said, Mom, you see? And Mom was like, And I said, how did you find out about this person? And I can't remember what she said. And then I said, who did you went in the hotel room? I said, who did you go with? And then she said who she went with. And I said, you need to lose that.
Right.
You know, because really, you know, I'm honest. And I just was out of love. I'm like, girl, you need to lose. That's you tripping.
Yes.
Like, who's going to let no person that
in their right mind will let you do that.
Take you there. But then I said, so after I said that, and she goes, oh, you're so funny. I'm like, no, but seriously, like, okay, now serious? Okay. And I pulled it back a little bit and I said, okay, now we have to figure out how. So let's investigate. Mm-hmm. Let's solve the problem now so it doesn't get any worse or you lose a leg. Let's figure out exactly where it is and then figure out what we're going to do next. If we have to have plastics cut it out, if I cut it out, I was going to probably refer her to plastics to cut them. So I didn't know how much was put in there. And I was like, we probably should maybe write about this and want people not to do this.
Yeah.
And so, yep.
Yeah. So we're saying, so how do we stop the girls thinking that the IG trends are okay and like if they're gonna do it? Because now the new thing is the 360 BBL or what? I don't know what it is. I'm not really hip to the game, Doc. You're more hip to.
So you can't. I mean, it's difficult right now because, you know, it's a cool and hip thing to do now, right? And it's fashionable. I'm hearing being skinny again is fashionable. It's being skinny is coming back. That's what I heard, right? But really, all that was ever happening was just really trying to embrace the figure of a woman of color, right? Of black women. That's all we are.
Well, let's get into it. Sorry to cut you off, Doc, but like literally, you being in this world and stuff, you know, a lot of the things that kind of black women maybe get talked bad about, whether it's the lips, you know, the big behind, you know, the stuff, they're been basically cut off and people of the races kind of basically want that on their body.
Look, the reality is, and I say this to people in industries and everything else, we set trends in everything. It's not just music. Like, stop the nonsense. Like, you know, we set trends in music. Everything that we do becomes cool. First, everything that's done by people of color is considered not so great, and then suddenly becomes cool, and then it becomes adopted by everyone else, and then it's okay. So here's what I say. Now, even saying this, I'm not going to put a negative spin on that, right?
Of course.
Right? No, really. This is because I think we have to embrace our greatness and not ask for anyone else to make it acceptable. That's the first problem, right? So it's just owning anything that we do is just, we set trends. It's just who we are. It's just who we are in this physical manifestation of ourselves, our souls, the black souls, the souls that choose to come and be black in this physical manifestation are those that's going to set trends. Okay. Now, what we need to do as a people, right? In this physicality is just own it and stop looking. Once you really own that, then all this other conversation of like, who, what we do is not being acknowledged and not being said, it's irrelevant. Who needs to acknowledge it but yourself? You don't need anyone to say it's okay to have lips and a big butt. You don't need to anyone to say like our music is okay. It's ridiculous. You need someone to say it's okay to wear a bonnet or it's not a bonnet. Why are we even having this conversation? Do I like the bonnets? I don't actually like the bonnets. I don't like the bonnets in the airports. I don't like it because I don't like that shiny fabric anyway. I've never liked it. Show me a bonnet that matches the outfit. I like it. Do you know what I mean? But who cares who cares? Just own. Listen, it's historically set trends.
Yes.
And it is what it is. What we do always becomes great. But who cares? But the whole conversation comes from the place that you're asking for someone else to make it okay. Just own your stuff. It's okay. Right? And so what we're having now is a conversation of like, what it means to be beautiful, what it means to be, embracing skin of color, embracing the features of women of color, embracing your hair and all this other stuff. And now it's accepted. That also comes from a place where you're asking someone to accept. Why are
we even asking for permission?
Right. Okay. So if you really, and no one's supposed to. Why should anybody else really make it okay for you to wear your hair like that? Okay. It's not my problem. For me, this kind of style works for me because this is what I look like. This is why I wake up in the morning. This is what I reference, right? So you complaining that I don't think that your hair is okay, that's not really in my radar. Now, you want to make it okay, you make it okay. Like the Crown Act. We make it okay, and keep it moving. But no one else is going to fight your fight for you, right? And it may not even be a fight. No one else is going to make what's important to you important unless you make it important.
Oh, that's a gem. So, Doc, we're getting close to wrapping up and everything because I have kept you hostage long enough. So
now I'm awake. You want to end? Okay.
We can keep going. I have questions. I can keep pushing, Doc.
But you know what the Crown Act is about?
Yes, I do.
So the Crown Act is about allowing people to wear their hairstyles no matter how they want in the work environment, right?
Yes.
And so that people aren't discriminated against no matter who you are, or not getting certain employment based on their hair. And again, it's also a tricky thing, right? Because there were some styles that may not match with a brand, right?
Right.
But
that's true.
But sometimes we have to put legislation and things in place to make sure that people's implicit bias or intentional bias is not brought into the workplace and certain environments. I've come to see that even in work, right? In my business, and it's taken years. Like even recently, you may give some people tasks, responsibilities to have and to do, and you think that they'll just do it. And human nature is such that if you don't really follow, check, make sure people do it, even the people that have the most say, "Oh, I've been doing this for 25 years and I'm this," they just don't follow through, and that's why you have to do these legislation to make people
keep it going.
Rise to the
rise
to the occasion.
So since we're keeping the conversation going, because you gave me the okay, that's okay. Okay, cool.
Kind
of. Anyway, so I remember one time when I was in your office, I was like talking to you about wearing makeup, and you was like, "You can wear makeup, but don't put no crap on your face." So can you get into that conversation?
What do you mean? I can't remember that one.
You was just like, girls have to be. Just because you can't watch IG makeup tutorials and then go get that brand and think that brand is gonna, no shaming, no brand.
Oh, you're saying, okay, so no, what I think, you were talking about the particular brand. That's why you said the crap, you didn't name the brand.
Well, I'm just talking in general, but yeah.
No, so look, there's lots, so especially now, there's going to be lots of brands coming up saying, oh, we're a black business and stuff like that. And they'll just slap stuff on your skin. So look, it's just the same way you take care of your skin. All things are not created equal. There's some products that will clog your pores. There's some products that are very oil-based. And if you're acne prone or even not acne prone, they're just not great for you. There's lots of chemicals that are in some of these products that are not great for your skin and just not great for absorption. Now, I say that with a caveat, because you don't be tightly wound and anal about the products you put in your skin and then you're eating whatever you want. You can't come to me and say, Dr. Sandy, I want all natural and organic products on my face. I don't believe in tradition, allopathic medicine, and I don't want any prescription medication. But Shorty, you just was in the line for Popeye's chicken like
2 hours ago.
Make sense. So do you? And I also did you eat organic? No. Okay, then so listen. Don't overdo it. I definitely believe that's why I take a holistic approach.
Right.
Right. And an authentic approach to things. Yes, you want to have balance. But you can be tightly wound about having all natural things on your face, but it's not logical if you're eating crap.
Right. You can't expect it. It's like you can't expect.
Yeah, but I mean, it's
you can't expect to be an NBA player and you don't be practicing.
Right.
Makes very sense.
Balance, right?
Okay, so going into products. Okay, so not everybody will not be blessed enough to have you in their back pocket like I am. Not everybody will be blessed enough to get to see you or ever physically meet you. What do I know, like, you have to create a routine. A professional should create a routine for a person, but what would we say the 3 basic things that male or female need to always have for a decent skincare routine?
So you definitely have to have a cleanser.
Okay.
Right? Oh, by the way, no. People don't wash their face every day. Some people just splash water. So you'd use a cleanser. If your skin's oily, you probably should use a foaming face wash. If your skin's dry, use hydrating. But here's the thing: a lot of the products now are doing, and CeraVe has one, a hydrating to foaming cleanser. So it will be hydrating, it will change, hydrate and then foam to remove the excess oils off of the face, right? Or you can just do both. First, use a foaming face wash, and then you can hydrate. Right. Hydrating face wash. A lot of doctors may disagree with me with this, but I tell patients to use a washcloth and use a white one.
Yep.
A cheap white one, so you can get a new one every day.
Yep.
Right? And then it can give you a little bit of exfoliation. With a washcloth, so you want to cleanse, you definitely want to, depending if you have some skin issue, whatever it may be, you may want to, if you've got acne, you treat acne, if you've got eczema, you treat eczema. You want to use something that's going to maintain the pH of your skin that's more an antioxidant, right? And usually things that make your skin a pH more acidic. So you want to use something that has like glycolic acid in it, maybe salicylic acid in it, okay? Maybe lactic acid, okay? That's going to make your skin more acidic. The skin likes an acidic environment, right? Just like the stomach. And it's more favorable for damage and injury and to stimulate your collagen and elastin. And then you would, also you can do a vitamin C product and sunscreen.
And we learned in the beginning.
And if you do a good sunscreen, it's a moisturizing sunscreen, so it usually has hyaluronic acid in it. So cleanser, okay. You want to use some kind of antioxidant, right? And that can come in alpha hydroxy acid, glycolic acid, lactic acid, vitamin C, and then you want to moisturize and protect.
Yes.
Okay, so you can moisturize with things that have hyaluronic acid in it, serums, and protect with sunscreen.
And then also that question to follow up, is the 60-second rule true about when they say when you wash your face with the cleanser, you're supposed to like wash it for 60 seconds? I'm not 60 seconds, almost to a minute. So yeah, it's 60, like, is that? Yeah, that's a minute to 1 minute, yes.
Yeah, I mean, but it doesn't take about that to just...
I know that because you taught me that.
Right, but does it... No, well, I don't... Listen, 1 minute... Think about this. I would do it like this. That's great, but let's think about real life. So in the morning, probably, if you're rushing, at least, could you count 60 seconds? Yeah, I guess. But spend as long as you can. You can do it in the shower. But in the evening, definitely you want to do it longer because you've been out in the element.
But how long? Because some people might go crazy.
That's why you use a cleanser. That's why you use a washcloth. You can see how dirty your face is when you use a white washcloth. You do a one wash, this is dirt, you wash the washcloth, do it. Rinse the white washcloth out. Do it again. Is there a mark on my face? No. On the washcloth? No. I'm good.
Doc, you acting like the listeners might not know. I know this because you trained
You
me.
use a white washcloth so you can see how much dirt
Yes,
is on there.
as being a patient of Dr. Natasha Sandy, I can proudly say I use a white washcloth every day.
And make that exclusively your face washcloth. You get the cheap ones. They're cheap, so they're really thin.
You can get on Amazon.
So it doesn't hold the water in it, and it doesn't hold the dirt and the soap.
Okay.
Right? And you throw it in the corner and use another one, throw it in the corner. You basically have one washcloth every day.
Yes.
And then you do one wash once a month.
Yes.
For those of you that wash.
Yes, okay. Yes.
Using your hands to wash your face is like brushing your teeth with your fingers.
Yes, I know. You have told me this.
You know that don't work though.
Right.
You know when you stay at your cousin's house and you forgot your toothbrush and they're like, take your finger and brush your teeth, and you're like this, and by the end of the day you're like like that. That's what it's like.
Okay. So you're always big on me on work ethic, grind it out work ethic. Can you please give a little bit of the, I know it's going to be a PC version of the conversation that we always have about work ethic, about how Black women, how you want to see Black women in the professional and growing, especially this new generation coming up. She's smiling because she can go on for days about this.
Yeah, no, it's just like this. Look. It's just like this. You just got to do everything. You can't be. Everyone's so particular. I don't do that. I don't do this. How in the world are you going to expand and grow if you want to be what you want to be? You want to be a boss without from 0 to 100. You want to be a boss without taking all the steps. Okay. You can manifest things quickly, right? Yes, you can.
Yes,
but you can't decide you're not going to do this and ABC. You're not going to take little steps to get there, right? You don't know that if you go to point A, you might bump into the person that's going to help you. And this is not that hard. Like, the thing is, if you listen to Charlemagne's story, he did anything and then he was at the right place at the right time. You can't be I'm not going to take this. You can't be in the beginning of your career and say, I'm not going to get this money because I'm worth it. You don't even know what you're worth. You have no idea. You come to know your worth, but you don't know what you don't know. In the beginning, anyone that you meet will tell you the story how it started.
Right. Can you give the day story?
Everyone will tell the story. Everyone will tell you the story that's really doing something, but I had to go get coffee. I had to take out the garbage. You see, people have to see that your worth and see the value of you, right? And then just when you think someone will be, you know what, I'm gonna use her, and they'll call you. I remember someone may know you. Someone is gonna notice something that you may have left a profession, left somebody, and they've noticed you, and they're gonna come back to you later on, right? Because of this person had work ethic, and they listened. And they were a contribution. Everyone wants to contribute nowadays, but not be a contribution. Everyone's got an opinion. You should do this or think about what, but you don't even know. You haven't been there long enough to listen and see what's needed, and you want to start giving an opinion.
Very much true.
Like, you have no idea the depth of what, And I realized that. I remember when I was first started, and I was working with a doctor, dermatologist, and I said, well, you should try this. You should try that. And I look back and I'm like, oh no, I didn't know all the scope of what she was thinking, right? And one thing I did was I just thought one thing I remember, I felt like she did too much and she didn't realize how amazing she was. That's one thing I remember. You know what I mean? But I also know when I got my own practice, I was like, oh, I didn't realize this is a thing that she had to consider when she's doing A, B, C, D.
Right.
So, and this is a young person and other people, right? So when people were going to give their opinion, I always realized the best people are people that ask questions, a lot of questions first before they say stuff. The people that don't ask a lot of questions but have a bunch of ideas before they ask a lot of questions, they're not really listening. Do you understand?
Yes.
And I find people, when I'll ask a lot of questions and people are uncomfortable with it, but I'm like, yeah, because I can't give insight unless I ask a lot of questions.
Of course. And because I remember also another conversation we had was linear and circle thinking, how you always saying that America think very linear and how that's kind of preventing us as growing because we can't think linear. We have to think.
What was I talking about?
You remember we had a patient, and we was up in the front. He was Indian, and he was from India. And I was working the front of the office one day. He was like, "Can you stop thinking linear?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And then the patient, I think he was a doctor too. He actually came from India to visit you. Like this was his first time, and he was like, "No, oh, this is what she's saying." And then we sat there for like 30 minutes having a conversation about linear and circle thinking. No, you don't remember that.
Kind of. I do. I'm trying to think exactly what I meant when I said that. It may just be this. There's just many ways, and it's not just A, B, C, D.
Yes.
Just think about the different ways and different ways that things can happen. I don't recall exactly what that situation is, but I just think sometimes, and I don't know if it's gender. No, I noticed it when I came here as well. That, and I think really exposure sometimes might lead to that, and having families from different parts of the world and different immigrants. I think an immigrant. What I've come to realize, immigrant population also is a unique population, even from where they came. Right. Okay. So the immigrant population is unique from even those from where they came, and even immigrants sometimes don't realize that. Because if you're that person that's going to move from another part of the world, right, where you know nothing, have no connections, to try and find a better life, you are also one of the more the go-getters of your population.
Got you, because you came from a whole different country,
right.
From uncomfortable.
And so even when immigrants come and say, "Well, no, you're different," because you're the type of person that's going to come to a whole other country to make it happen. So you're already a go-getter to begin with. Right. You're already a risk taker to begin with.
And then if you start your own business in this country, you're like double the time, and then you keep multiplying
it.
But
you're already a different person from that group anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you. So, Doc, because I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to keep you hostage. I want to let you go and live your life, because I want you to have a life.
This is why we need a camera, so you can see my faces.
I know. If you could see our faces the whole entire time, it'd be hilarious. But so, Doc, what do you want? Like, signing off before we get to the Wild Award, what do you want Black women as a whole? Because Doc, as you can see, Doc doesn't think highly of herself. She thinks highly of herself.
What?
You do, but you don't. Doc is not like, when you say celebrity dermatologist, this is why I wanted Doc on the show. You probably think she's up to tea, she ain't. Nah, Doc is the type of person.
No, I am up to tea. So no. So
here we go.
I am. Listen, I'm owning this. They used to say that I'm like, people used to say, Natasha's really bougie and she's like proper. I am all of it. I am uppity, I am bougie, but I'm also down to earth and cool. I just really have a range. I'm all of it. Yeah, I know what you're trying to say. Like, I know what you're trying to say.
Yes, you're down to earth.
I am. And I think I've always been different. Right? Mm-hmm. We're all different, but I've always had something special about myself. Right? Yes. I don't know what it is, but it is. And again, when we talk, what made me come to realize it was actually having someone in my life, a friend that's not like all my other friends. All my other friends, we just let it flowed, and she wasn't a good person. And I was like, and I realized why. It's because I didn't realize how amazing I was, and it was, it made them uncomfortable. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they want you to shrink your light, like.
Yeah, because I was like, what? Oh man,
because
I'm amazing.
Yeah, like the stories that Doc could tell is interesting. Like, she won't tell the stories.
One time, I had Buju Banton say this. He says, all men are anointed, but not many are appointed. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And that's that. There are many people, listen, and that's what I've come to say. Listen, we are all amazing individuals, right?
Yes.
We all, right? All of our souls are connected, and we're all amazing individuals, and we are all co-creators in this world.
Yes.
And there are those that are anointed and appointed for something special.
Yes.
In their own right. There are those that are anointed for more unique roles, and there are those that are not. And that's just the way it is. Yes. Right? It's an ecosystem of this world.
Yes.
Right?
Very much.
And the next lifetime, maybe that person's role might be something else. But there can only be one president of the United States at one given time.
That's true too.
Right? But there could be maybe more doctors. So there's some people that are appointed to do jobs that are rare, and some that are not. It's just what it is. And I think actually the pandemic led me come to this. Listen, it's okay. I'm great. I made.
That's a sound bait right there. That's a sound bite.
Okay.
No, but
some are greater, and it may not sit well, right? It's right. It may not sit well, but some are. I'm great.
Right.
You're great too. But I'm great at this time for my role, for what I need to do. I may have a unique something that's few, and it has to be.
Yes.
It's okay. It's all right. And it doesn't mean that I have to make people feel uncomfortable. I'd have to shrink it to make other people uncomfortable. So that's what I used to do. That I used to like pull back a little bit because I didn't want to make. I didn't even know I was doing it. I knew that I'd feel something. I'd be okay. Let me just make it easy because I'm making them something's uncomfortable. So let me just pull back a little bit. And I'm not talking about being more animated, but just not being fully myself.
Right.
And then I was like, no, it's not. That's their problem. They're actually great too. What I've come to realize is this, and maybe I'll share this. When other people are comfortable or not bothered or they don't like something or somebody, whatever it is, I don't know. What it is that somebody is reminding you, our soul, our inner being, our greater self sees that somebody is living in their reality and aligned with what's for them, and it reminds us, oh, I'm not living in mine. Forget the word greatness or whatever it is, but and so that's what makes you uncomfortable. And you understand what I'm trying to say? That's that gritty thing, whatever it is, because we all have different however we're supposed to be, we feel comfortable with it, right? But that's what makes a person feel, It is what is. But that's what co-creation is. We're supposed to do that for each other. So all this talk, even we're talking now, even this thing where like, don't dim your light for anybody else. It's not about dimming your light for anyone else, right? Okay. It's never about that. It's really about we are co-creators for each other. We help each other, right? Even if you're not even the person that's like not nice, right?
Right.
That was her purpose, was to let me know. And this is a friend that went to school with a bunch of friends of us, right? Their purpose is to give you some insight into more for yourself, whether someone's good or bad for you, if we want to use those words. Right?
Got you.
If it's, right, they're guiding you to the left and to the right. They're telling you make a left when you were going to make a right.
Got you.
So everyone serves a purpose. So the point was, even that conversation where don't let other people dim your light. But no, it's not about the other person. It's you, but you're using them to guide you to know that you need to just shine.
That's okay. So Doc, so we're gonna end it right there. Before we end it, okay, because that's a gym. You just had church or whatever religious thing you want to call it. You had it. So with saying this, before we go, because I probably feel like we're gonna end up talking another 20 minutes. But before we go, who is your Wild Award? And the Wild Award is always the person who have paved the way. You can know them personally. You can have never met them before. They can be dead. They can be alive. But you gotta nominate somebody.
One person?
You can, no, if we could sit here all day, you can nominate 20, 15 people. I don't care.
So a person or people that have contributed to my life?
You can name how many.
That's what Wild Awards is?
Yeah, like Julian talked about, we had somebody do 4 one time, somebody did 1, some people did 5, some people did. It's up to you.
It's so many people.
All right.
So I would say, of course you've got your parents.
Yeah.
But I would say my aunt, my mum's sister, Auntie Joan.
Okay.
And why? Because I think I saw her just juggling, to just navigate, just always there for people, always showing up, and in spite of just finding a way. Do you know what I mean? In a way that I hadn't, and still being a woman, right? Do you know what I mean?
Leading in femininity.
Femininity, yeah. Do you know what I mean? And that's kind of, you were going to ask me something about what I would say to Black women.
Yes. Oh, we can go back to that before.
Go along to that.
Okay.
And then, so that's my aunt. I would say, thinking right now, there's this woman that I know. Her name is Judy Washington. She's a family medicine doctor from the United States. She is like amazing. I don't know how this woman, you can call her and she's always there.
Mm-hmm.
She always has an answer for everything, quality resources. She's trained a lot of doctors, and she's just amazing, and she's so underrated. Underrated, I think, not appreciated by those that she trained.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just like,
she's
a good doctor, a great doctor. She went to Meharry,
mm-hmm.
a great doctor, a great person, and she's got so much knowledge. She's a really good doctor, holistic, everything. She really handholds her patient. She's really good. So Dr. Washington.
Okay.
If I could be even a third of what she is, I'd be a beast. She's on time with everything. She's like really amazing. And I never call her and she never not shows. And she doesn't just do it for me.
She does it for everybody.
This is collective. I've just got some amazing friends, man.
No, for real, Doc. Like, y'all, I know y'all don't. I'm not just saying this because I hype her up. I'm really her mentee, so I get to sit here in the office and pick Doc's mind and be like, "Can you tell me D stories?" And you tell me like Doc's stories are one of a kind. Like, also, Doc was a part of the greatest hip hop era, '90s.
Oh, she just aging with the golden era. I mean, listen. So we were in the golden era. So I mean,
can we talk about Biggie? Can we talk about? No,
what the story when my cousin took me to
no,
party?
just that you just was there around that time period. Not that you knew that, like, just you was just. I mean, you shook hands around those. Like, you was around hip hop when hip hop was bomb. Like,
yeah, so it was fun for me because coming from England, and England hip hop was really big when you couldn't do concerts and stuff in America, you could do them in London, right? Mm-hmm. So and they were really into like hip hop. We were really into it. Like, we knew that who the producers were and all that other stuff, right?
Right.
We did all of that, and then coming to America, and then having my cousins take me to parties. I remember one time I went to a party. I think it was a Wild Pitch party, maybe in New York, and my cousin was like, "Yeah, he's about to blow up, blah 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 blah." And there's this big black guy, tall, broad shoulders. And I was like, "Oh," and he's like, "Yeah, you from London? Yeah, I'm Jamaican. My family's Jamaican. I got something up from." And it was Biggie. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, "Oh, really?" And I was like, "Yo, he's about to." And then it was Biggie. Stuff like that. Things like that.
She really does have amazing friends. Like I said,
I have amazing friends that are amazing in that they've in all different different industries, and they're all amazing in their field. A lot of them went to HBCU, and even from other parts of the world. But they all, they're good people.
Yeah,
I can count them.
Okay, because we're gonna we keep trying to end it, but you keep talking because I got you hyped now. So I was gonna say you wanted to say something about Black women leading in femininity. I wanted to get back because I felt like that was a really good one.
It's interesting. When I came to America, right, it was weird to me, right? This whole, I just thought there was a lot of like males, Black women this and Black men there. I'm thinking, what's this about? Like, what is this? I don't understand this. What is this? Like, it's extra. What is this about? Is this internal battle? And I'm thinking, what are they talking about? And being here I came when I was 18. Over the years, I would hear people say, "Well, yeah, it's because of your career you did this." I'm like, "What are you talking about? My career? It's just education. It's my education. Like, what is this? It's got nothing to do with. It's just me, right? I'm just doing what I like. What is it? You know what I mean, Black women like." Educate, you put your profession. What are you talking about? It's just like foreign. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And the other day, I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "You really have no idea because you're making a label of me as a woman of color that is totally not who I am.
Right.
Culturally, I come from a culture that's not it.
Right.
But what I realize is over the years, you're putting it on even African American women, right? Mm-hmm. That might not be their reality, but they're putting it on it, and women putting them in. So I was talking to a patient the other day, and she said something about, so and so is a strong personality and a strong Black woman. I said, I'm not. What does that mean? It's insulting. When someone says strong personality, it's insulting, right?
It is.
And strong Black woman, I was like, that's a thing that's very new and very, I would say American, right? I think it's a bunch of crock.
It is.
And women and us as Black women, especially in the United States, are buying into that crap. Listen to me. When people use that word strong Black women, it comes with it a bunch of baggage which means I can take any crap. I'm not affected by any crap, right? And it brings with it also the lack of femininity and impact of what and feeling, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what I want women to do is listen. You don't. If you're strong, do you have to shout it?
No.
Right? Even being called, oh, she's a strong black woman. You don't need to be. If you are, you be, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're a laid back dude, you don't say, oh, I'm a laid back kind of dude. No, you're just so busy being laid back, you ain't saying nothing. You're just being laid back. I'm really outspoken. If you're outspoken, you're just really outspoken. You even mention I'm being outspoken. And what I say is, be cautious with this strong thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because what that means is that you go roll with me with this. Where that comes is that I'm impacted by things, right? Throw anything at me,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not going to be bruised. Throw anything at me, and I'm not going to be impacted. You don't even have to be that. I just am a woman, okay? And being a woman, what that brings with it is that I am all of it. I'm resilient. You do what you need to do, you get it happen. But that extra tag really takes away the impact of what is done to you, and the impact of recognizing that you need time to just relax and chill, right? And to feel. You understand what I mean?
No.
So I'm a woman.
I am a woman.
I'm a woman just living my life and trying to create the life that I want and just having fun. And just try to remember that the whole point of life is to create.
Mm-hmm.
You're here to create and play. So yeah. No, don't be so strong that you don't have feelings. Don't be so strong that you can't be impacted by things. Don't be so strong that you have to take whatever's come to you. Being strong means that you keep getting up and making it happen and sharing your feelings
Mm-hmm.
and being impacted by things for whatever means, and being okay to say how you feel about things, right? But if you don't try to be this strong shield, then you can say how you feel about things and you don't have to shout it or fight it. You can just say, I don't like it and I want this and I want that.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
So that's what you want black women to coming up and just in business and everything.
But it's okay. If sometimes you may have to shout.
Okay.
Sometimes you don't have to. It doesn't matter. The bottom line is you do not have to have the shield of I'm not impacted by anything.
Gotcha.
Okay. That's what I say.
And on that note,
and it's a beautiful thing. Embrace all of it.
Yes. On that note, we'll have Dr. Sandy back on. Yes, because she's probably gonna have more to say in a couple of months and stuff and everything. And I just want to pick her mind. And I probably the guests are gonna love you and how you talk and how you just tell how it is. But thank you for listening to another episode of Wild. Please tune in, comment, and share. Wild's available on Apple, Spotify, and Google. Also follow us on IG at _WILD. Wild Human, HUMAN _ and Doc, plug all your social media so people can find out about you.
Oh yeah, so you can find me on drnatashasandy.com. You can find me on Instagram at Dr. Natasha Sandy. You can also find me on TikTok. I think I'm TikTok Doc or something like that, but still Dr. Natasha Sandy. And then where else? Google me.
Google. Just honestly Google.
Just Google me.
YouTube. You can find a bunch of interviews.
Ask about me.
And on that, inside all of us is hope.
Please ask about me. Ask about me.
Ask about it. Inside all of us is hope. Inside all of us is fear. Inside all of us is adventure. Inside all of us is a wild thing. Maurice Sindog. All right. See y'all later. Until next time. Bye.